The brave men and women who have served our country faithfully often need our help to successfully transition back into civilian life. Brave Radio is here to highlight veterans and the companies who are making a difference in our veteran community. And now, the host of Brave Radio, Eve Nasby.
Welcome to Brave Radio, where we're focused on engaging our veterans and making a difference in our business community. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here to highlight the best and brightest that San Diego and this nation have to offer. We have an amazing show planned today, so let's get started. With me in studio today is somebody you guys absolutely have to meet. He has served as the personal chef for admirals, senators, and foreign dignitaries for the vast majority of his military service. He started his naval career in 2002 aboard the USS Bellewood as a seaman recruit, where he cooked for, ladies, listen to this, 3,500 sailors and Marines a day. So if you're cooking for your kids right now and you're complaining, stop it. He cooked for 3,500 people a day. His signature menu items are Cole's Curry Chicken, and I want to let you know that he brought a bottle of citrus habanero sauce that I cannot wait to put on my popcorn tonight. So, Chef Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I only touched the tip of the iceberg. You've even cooked for, the president of Chile?
Yes.
Like, really? I mean, come on. Who does that?
Yes, I forgot about that one.
You forgot about that one. It's amazing. So I want to start first with the why. And we're going to move from your military career into what you're doing today, which possibly includes TV. And we can say we knew you when. But let's just start with Jeff. Back in the day, you were in Brooklyn. Is that right? Brooklyn,
yes,
New York.
Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy.
All right. And you know what? Before we jumped on air, we were talking about a little bit about the struggles that you had as a kid in school. And the reason I want to go there is because there's lots of people out there listening today that are like, I want to start my own business, but I'm not smart enough. I don't have the brains to do it. I was told in school, this or that, I'm not going to succeed or I'm struggling. But I want you to completely shatter that thought, because here you are today, an amazing chef, and we're going to talk about this amazingness. But first, let's start in the beginning. So talk about your school and the struggles that you had.
Oh, growing up in Brooklyn, New York was a tough situation. Actually, growing up at my home, no one had a job. They sold drugs out of the home. My mother been in prison twice. My uncles, most of my family got deported back to Jamaica. But growing up, in an environment, I knew I wanted more. Yeah. It's like, you just see, you see things as like, how can I be get more out of life? Yeah. Like, I don't want to be 70 struggling to pay rent. Mm-hmm. So you kind of, I kind of observed at an early age, good. It's like one of those good kid, bad cities. Right. So, right. But I was fortunate to move down to Florida, stay with my dad my last year of high school. And after joining the military, everything just changed.
But I love the story, and I want to skip over this. So you moved to Florida, yes. And then you were in construction, and you're 18 years old, working side by side with a guy who was, 60?
Yes.
And has been doing it all of his life. And you just had this epiphany, like, you don't want to be like this guy. You're 18 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you.
Yes. And then
tell the story about the rainy day.
Yeah, so it was crazy. So I know, I just knew I wanted more out of life, but I never knew I wanted to be. Actually, when I'm gonna back it up a little bit. I remember when I was a kid, he was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I want to be a CEO, because Puff Daddy, he wants to be like Bad Boy CEO. So I'm like, these guys are CEOs. I'm like, how do you become a CEO? He just seemed like he was in charge of everything. Yep. So I just like, I would love to be a CEO. So fast forward, I work construction. And, we're working hard, 12, 15-hour days, money is decent, but somebody get every energy out of you. Mm-hmm. And this guy was like, yeah, hey, youngster, I've been doing this since, I was, your age. Come trying to figure out how does he get paid more than me? We're doing the same job. And he's like, oh, you've been doing this since my age. He had like $5 more than me, but. Right. So I'm like, that something snapped that day. And I'm like, I can't be that guy. I can't be him, doing this job when I'm that old. I'm like, what do you live for? You live just to die? You don't do what you want to do in life? You just like live to pay bills and then you die one day? It's like, so the next day it rained. In West Palm Beach, it rained sometimes. It was just raining. I don't know what. It just rained that day bad. With the recruiting office.
You went to the recruiting office.
Yes. I said I would never join the military. You asked me 3 months before. I said I would never join. I remember one time I took the test. So I was like, I went to the recruiting office. The Air Force said I didn't score high enough. So I was like, I remember my uncle went to the Navy. I went to the Navy. I said, hey, what's the minimum score you need to get in? oh, you need 31. So I had a 31. Because, I had a 31, it was low.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. I was like, so, hey, I want to join. I got no records. I'm clean and I don't do any drugs. Like, can I join? Because I work construction. It's a bad day today. If you don't sign me up today, I probably won't come back tomorrow.
And he was smart enough to bring you on.
They got the paperwork and they got me going, and they drove me down to Miami, and I swore that day. And, I didn't know what job I wanted to be at first. I told them I wanted to be, I want to be a rescue swimmer.
A rescue swimmer.
I wanted to be a rescue swimmer, right? And they said, well, this aircrew school is tough. This, swimming. She taught me out of it. And I didn't know, like, I realized down the line, because I was African American, she taught me out of it. Cause I didn't know when I got in the Navy, I was the only black guy who knew how to swim. It sounds weird. It was crazy. But I was like, how do you not know how to swim? But I found out it's just it's culture based, and a lot of time their parents don't want them to go to the water because they think they're going to drown, and I never knew that. Yep. But so they signed me to be a cook. And they told me, so I signed up to be a cook. Years down the line, I did go to aircrew school, become an air crewman, though.
Okay.
So they taught me out of it.
So it came back around.
Yes.
All right. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, with Jeff Cole, who puts me to shame because he cooks for way too many people, and you do a superb job. So catapulting you from struggling in school, having a less than ideal environment, you get into the military, and now you're on your way to success because you're cooking, you're doing stuff that you like, but you're kind of ADHD. So CEOs out there are ADHD.
Yes.
So you're in that profile, right? So you're doing all these things in the military, and people are telling you to do what? Slow down?
Everyone, a lot of people tell me, say, hey, Jeff, just focus on one thing and be great at that, home in on that. And even when I was in the military, just doing multiple jobs at one time, and everybody told me to slow down. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was in the military, 1 month came around that had a lot of big accomplishments in one month. I got my bachelor's degree. I got certified as a chef de cuisine on Friday. I went to school in Florida, got certified as a chef de cuisine by American Culinary Federation. Boarded. That Saturday, I walked my graduation for my bachelor's degree.
Oh my gosh!
In professional aeronautics, I got an aeronautical degree, and then following on, I got my wings as an air crewman. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
And then I became like sailor quarter. So I did a lot of things that people take a long time to complete in like one month. All 4 of these things
You've taken the excuse out of every single person listening today. Like, you have no excuse. You came from this really hard background. Reading comprehension was difficult for you. Yes. And now look at you and all of this stuff. You've got your master's degree and you're on your way. So let's transition over into what you're doing today. You are a service-disabled veteran-owned business, yes?
Yes, I am.
And you are doing what? Tell our audience.
Well, I'm CEO of Admiral's Experience. So we do executive catering. Greater San Diego area. We also have a cafe on Broadway and State Street, and we also have a sauce line. And in the near future, with next month, we'll have a restaurant coming out, Admiral's Island Cuisine. All
right. So talk about what this restaurant is going to be all about. What kind of food are we going to be going? Because I'm going there, listeners. So we're going to have to be there opening day and have a fun party.
It'll be about first week of June. So the Admiral's Island Cuisine is going to be, I've been in 37 countries around the world.
37 countries.
Yes. So I kind of want to give it, most of them are islands.
Islands. Okay.
Most of them are islands. So I want to give the experience. I want to bring people with me to travel with me. So I'm a
culinary traveling experience. I like that. And the airfare is really low because you just drive.
Yes, you just drive. So the main concept is different islands from around the world, appetizers like tapas around the world. Then every week of the month, we pan in on one region and focus on that one regional cuisine. So it's international, but every day you have your bite-sized world-class cuisines.
My mouth is watering. So we're going to focus in, say, on Hawaii, right? So then for that whole week, we have nothing but Hawaiian food.
Yeah, Hawaii.
Hawaii. Did you bury the pig in the backyard?
I actually lived in Hawaii for 3 years.
You did?
Yes. So I have a great experience with a lot of these places we've been in, like Singapore, I was there for many times. Guam, been there. I have stories for everywhere. So I try to incorporate these stories to the dishes.
So what words of wisdom, obviously you're a veteran, disabled, CEO of this great company. What advice would you give to those veterans who are listening that might want to start their own business, who are thinking about starting their own business?
Well, first, strive for greatness. Find something. You got to do either two things. Find something that you either love to do, because you'll never work again, or two, get a business that you already know how to do. Like I was already in culinary, so I just stuck with culinary, and I love cooking, so it's like it went hand in hand. But if you find something you love to do, you'll never sleep. You'll stay up 2 a.m. working on your project, and it's not about money. It's about striving for greatness. Don't do it for money. It's like you're doing it to. Some people do it for money, but when you're not doing it for money, everything just comes. So. And then definitely go to a SCORE, get a mentor. You want to go to SCORE down at SBA, go to SCORE, and they set you with a mentor. SCORE,
now that's free, is that right?
Yes, SCORE is free.
Mentorship from business owners who've been there, done that, and have been successful.
Yes.
And so now you can get free mentorship advice from, it's SCORE, SCORE.
SCORE. That was a great opportunity to SCORE. So they put me down the path. And another thing you may want to do is a lot of veterans don't know, you have 3% of the state's money is mandatory to go to disabled vets.
Yep.
So it's called a DBVE program,
yes.
right? So if a lot of things that people don't know about, like supplies, services that's on base, they have government contracts for it. So if you go down to the PTAC office, they will show you how to get a government contract, a service that you already know how to do. Just because you're a disabled vet and you have a business, you're first in line to get these government contracts.
You are. That's absolutely true. You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ, AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. I am in studio with Chef Jeff Cole. He's an amazing individual, a great story, and you guys have to hunt him down on his websites and LinkedIn profiles because he's all that in a bag of chips. Do you make chips too?
Yeah. We can. Yes.
You can? All right. So I think you've got some great stories too. All of your travels, necessity is the mother of invention. And I want to also speak to those people out there who are thinking about starting their own business and you've got an idea. Run with your idea. And Jeff, if you wouldn't mind sharing that story where you were 45,000 feet in the air and you came up short because you had no salad dressing for the admirals or whoever was up in that plane with you.
Yeah, I remember it was a short trip because we went to South Korea to get the South Korean forces, and we had to go to the store and grab some things, and he's got to go brief the president,
right?
And we had to.
He's briefing the president of the United States, like our president.
Yes,
so this is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Right.
So he has to.
And you're cooking for somebody who's a big deal.
Yes. So we had to fly him. So I remember 45,000 feet in the sky. A lot of people don't know Gulfstream jets could go up to 50,000 feet. That's their ceiling. So sometimes we go 40. When you go higher, you go faster. So I'm in the sky and I forgot the salad dressing.
That's like me going to the store for eggs and I get everything else but the eggs, right? I come out with chocolate and ice cream. And
exactly. Time to go to the local market.
Right?
Yeah.
So no salad dressing for the salad guy.
No salad dressing. And these guys, they got so much on their mind that, they're helping control the world that you don't want to, you don't want them to have an off day. You just want everything to be perfect.
You do not want to let them know you don't have salad dressing.
Yes, for a salad.
Somebody could die.
I know, for a salad, but they got so much other things on their mind. My job is to really make them happy. So I go into the cabinet. I said, I have some olive oil because, we were cooking with the olive oil. And I had some teriyaki and some soy. And then we had some fruit for breakfast. I'm like, what can I do? I'm like, will this taste right? I'm like, okay, I got some stuff, got some brown sugar, some olive oil. I made a vinaigrette with teriyaki dressing. And then, so with some tangerines and some brown sugar, and I'm gonna give the whole recipe away, but it worked.
Okay,
it worked. And now we have a teriyaki vinaigrette because he came to me after that brief, and he said that salad was the best salad I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow. And it was a fluke.
Yeah. You're wiping the sweat of your brow going, yes. I pulled that one off. So tell us how we can get more of your sauce and how we can get a hold of you for more information about Chef Jeff and all the great things you're doing, including your TV show.
Yes. Everything could be on www.admiralsexperience.com. That's Admirals plural, experience.com. Everything on there, our sauces will be back online up there. You can follow us what we're doing. Our sizzle wheel, you could catch actually a part of a sizzle wheel online. Meet Chef Jeff Cole, and we got a lot of great things coming.
I am so excited. So after you're famous with the TV show, we have to have you back, okay?
All right.
Well, Chef Jeff Cole, thank you so much for being a part of our show. And you're also hiring veterans, which is why we wanted to have you on the show, too, to advertise. If you're interested in a position in your organization, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, everything is up, chefjeffcole.com. admiralsexperience.com. You go on there, or you can get us at info@admiralsexperience.com. Or email me direct at chefjeffcole@admiralsexperience.com. That's chef, and then GEOFF @admiralsexperience.com. I am looking for an experienced retired Navy or military cook that, pretty much help run the operation.
All right. Thanks for putting that out there. We're going to keep our eyes and ears open for you, Chef. All right. You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, and we will be right back after this short break to talk about what the Army, TakeLessons.com, Petco, Phoenix, Life Technologies, Thermo Fisher all have in common. Don't go away. Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful, long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who can just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Amerit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today. Welcome back. You're listening to Brave Radio, where we're focused on engaging our veterans and making a difference in our business community. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here to highlight the best and brightest that San Diego and this nation have to offer. And we are in studio with that one thing that connects the Army, One Roof Energy, TakeLessons.com, Petco, Phoenix, and the list goes on. And that's our good friend Andy Wingstrom, a professional recruiting consultant extraordinaire. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show. Hi,
Andy,
Eve.
you're amazing. Hello.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So you spent 4 years in the Army.
That's correct.
Kind of getting your feet wet in that whole structured environment. And at the break, we were talking about how much that brought into your life, the foundation. So can you talk a little bit about, you come from, we had Chef Jeff on before, and his environment growing up was less than ideal, but look at where he is today. And we could say the same thing about you. You're growing up, and we all come from dysfunctional families because we're human, but you were in 3 ninth grades. I mean, come on. That's hard.
Yeah.
But yet you went into the Army.
I did.
And talk about how that changed your life.
Thank you so much. Yes, we moved a lot growing up, and so that left a lot of challenges for me and my siblings.
Yeah.
But luckily, we were all able to persevere, if you will. And I think for myself, my older brother and my younger brother all served in the military. We were all in the Army, and we also have multiple family members that have served in the military. And I feel as though it gave us a platform to succeed. And I think that for me, it was an opportunity to quote unquote run away from the life that I was currently in. But also more importantly, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do something greater than was the opportunity that I had presented to me at that time.
Right.
I wasn't ready for college. I was a smart kid, but I wanted to explore the world and be myself. And I think the military definitely gave me that opportunity.
There's structure.
There's structure.
Right. And you didn't have a lot of structure.
I didn't have a lot of structure.
Right.
That's exactly right. And it forced me to have a controlled environment and live a controlled life. And it was difficult. I'm not going to lie. I was this pipsqueak 5'6", 135-pound kid joining the military. But by the time I left there, it left me with a sense that I can accomplish anything. And I'm very proud that I served, and even more today than I was at the time.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you so much.
We've been friends for a long time,
yes,
and I admire all that you've done and all these companies now. So tell me your story. So you transitioned out of the military and you fell into recruiting, and then now you're this amazing big deal in San Diego. So talk about how your transition, because sometimes people don't know what they want to do.
That's
when
right.
They get out of the military and they fall into a career, and sometimes they hate it, sometimes they like it. So talk about what happened to you.
Well, that's a great point. And to be honest, I think the most important thing that you can do coming out of the military is, one, be your authentic self. And two, really write down, what is it that I like to do? Do I like to work by myself? Do I like to work with my hands? Do I like working with people? And so on and so forth. Do I like technology, software? Really understand yourself and be honest about that, because that way you can really identify roles that will fit your desires and passions. And like Chef Jeff said earlier, if you go to work doing what you love, you're not really working. So I think that speaks highly to doing exactly that, which is identifying what you like to do and just being your true authentic self. And that will at least give you a path and a vision. For me, I did fall into recruiting by chance. I was in DC after the military, and I got selected to take a job with in actually Ann Arbor, Michigan, when Borders Books and Walden's Books were merging together.
Okay.
And I had never really done recruiting. It was just happened in my lap, or fell into my lap.
From a temp service, you signed up with a temporary service.
That is correct.
Right?
I'd signed up with a temp service. So
I love those places.
Yes, they actually can really jumpstart your career and give you a path. I do believe that. Yeah. And so I went to Ann Arbor. It was a crazy week. We spent like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 4 or 5 days. It was exhausting. We saw over 800 people. But
800 people.
Literally. It was
trial by fire, my friend.
It was trial by fire. We had so many slots to fill. It was
but you were Army, so you could do it, right?
I was exhausted at the end, I'm not going to lie, but it showed me something that I had never seen before or really knew existed, which is, talent acquisition, recruiting at the time, and doing something wonderful, which is placing people in roles and giving somebody an opportunity to have a career.
You're listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170, streaming live on the web at am1170theanswer.com. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm your host, Eve Nasby, here with the amazing Andy Wingstrom. And we're going to continue your story because after interviewing 800 people and being completely exhausted, you thought, wow, I really like this.
That's exactly right. I mean, I really didn't get a full-time recruiting job. I had moved to San Diego back in 1997, and I started with a staffing agency, and it was old school. We didn't have computers. It was a crazy environment. I remember those days.
We had everybody's name on a card and a box.
That's exactly right.
You needed a receptionist. You went under R for receptionist in the box.
We were placing people. We were young, a younger staff, and we had no idea really what we were doing, if you will. But what we did was we learned the process. We learned what to look for in candidates. We learned what to ask and what not to ask, and we were able to, and I was able to persevere. And ultimately, that led to a full-time job with one of our clients, which was McBride Electric, and their corporate headquarters were here. We had multiple branches around the country, and so I transitioned into the corporate world by chance. I was ready to make a change, and I was over the staffing world in boxes, and I wanted to get to corporate, and that's how I made it into the corporate world. And ever since, I've been there ever since. And
you know what I love about your story, Andy, is that you are a veteran, transitioned out. Now you're sitting on the other side of the desk. You are the person that any veteran could be sitting on the other side of the desk from, answering your questions. So what I want to do now is kind of put on your consulting hat, if you will, from the perspective of a veteran. And I want you to talk to those veterans out there, and, you know, maybe even civilians who are kind of all over the place and not really sure where they want to go in their careers. But can you talk about what things you as a recruiter don't want to see from a veteran? Questions you ask, answers that you hear that's the wrong answer, if you will. Can you talk about that?
Well, I'm not sure that there's ever really truly a wrong answer.
Well, if I say, hey, Andy, if I'm interviewing you and like, hey, what do you want to do in life? Yeah. And you say, well, I'm in the Army. I can do anything.
I can do anything.
I can't help you.
Yeah, I've been to war. I've, supported the first sergeant. You're exactly right. But if you're saying I can do everything, you really can't. Let's be honest. You can ultimately, when you get all the skills necessary in the training and the education, and you have the right mentors and team members around you. I think what veterans should be really leery of is being afraid of the experience they have and sharing and being able to translate that to, a recruiter, if you will. So what I mean by that, you don't want, as a veteran transitioning, or maybe somebody that just can't find their way and they've been out for a while, is you want to answer questions. You want to take your experience. For instance, let's say you ran a platoon, right? So instead of saying I ran a platoon and I, had them in formation at 6 a.m. every morning, what you want to say is I was a leader and a mentor to 36 staff members that look for me to guide them to complete the projects and tasks that were presented to us, whether they were in the U.S., at one of our European allies countries, or unfortunately in a war zone. I think by just taking what you've done and using the right verbiage is critically important. But I guess what you're asking me is, how do you actually know what to say in some ways?
I think what you just said was perfect, Andy, because you're breaking it down to something that I, as a civilian, can understand. You talk about leadership, a team versus a platoon. A platoon, that word to me is foreign. I'm a civilian. But team, I get that. I understand that. And I led 36 people. Well, okay, that makes sense to me. I understand that. It's something I get my head around.
Thank you.
So no, I think that's great. So as far as other questions, things that you see on resumes, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see candidates who are coming from the military make?
They're using acronyms and words that a typical layman or a civilian that had never been associated with the military on their resume. And those, so for instance, I was a 31 Charlie. No one has any idea what that is, more than likely, unless they... that was funny. But a 31 Charlie is really a radio operator. And then you sort of take that, just use that word, radio operator. Now, I didn't actually do radio. I wasn't a radio operator, even though that was my title. I was blessed with other roles, but you can take out those words, and for instance, if you're a radio operator, you can say, I was a radio operator that transmitted information from point A to point B. But if you say, I was a 31 Charlie and I sat in one of my trucks and sent signals, no one is going to understand how that might translate into a full-time role with an organization that maybe designs radios. And I know that there's companies in the San Diego market, government contractor companies, that do just that kind of work. And so I think that's important.
No, that's good. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in another segment with our good friend Rachelle Snook from WD-40 about all those crazy acronyms you guys have. You're listening to Brave Radio, where we focus on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. I'm here with Andy Wingstrom, recruiting consultant and a good friend. So Andy, in the short time that we have left, you as a military person transitioning out, you understand the struggles. You understand that fear that exists in the hearts of those who are getting out, and they're not sure of the unknown, right?
That's right.
So what advice would you give to your fellow veterans?
Well, one, I would really leverage any programs that the military has to offer before you get out and after you get out. As an example, I have never used my buying a house, I think it's FHA or VHA
your
loan.
Your VA loan.
Right. And I thought you could only use that one time. But I learned later in life you can use it multiple times. I did not know that you could get military medical benefits unless I thought you had to be out of war or had an injury.
Okay.
But there are certain circumstances that you can get medical insurance through the VA, and they are supportive. So I think it's most important to really take the time to speak to people that are exiting you from your military service, regardless of the branch. Get all that information and actually do the research on the companies and the nonprofits that the information they give you, and then contact those people to help you with mentoring and giving you guidance on how to best transition into the industry.
Excellent, because you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know,
and you got TAP
and it's
classes
scary, and there's apprehension, and you want to succeed, but you don't really know what to do. And so I think this will give you a good starting point.
Andy, thank you so much for joining us. And you're going to stay in studio with us.
It's my pleasure.
We're going to go to Rachelle next from WD-40. You guys have got to hear her. She's amazing. And she's from Australia. So it's just fun listening to her talk.
That's right.
So we're going to be right back after these messages. Don't go away.
Hey, boss.
Yeah.
I need to hire someone. Our workload's increased and, man, I could use some help.
What are you looking for?
I need someone unlike Ben, who doesn't freak out, when the copier breaks and the phones are down and the receptionist calls in sick.
What do you need?
Leadership. I need a leader who can just get it done with little direction and ahead of time would be great. With the prima donnas floating around our department like Sally and Jason, it's a challenge, man, to get things done. I need a team player, trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, and adaptable to change.
There's only one place you're going to find talent like that.
Show me where.
Our United States veterans. Call Eve right now at 619-244-3000 or log on to thebrave.us and let's hire a veteran. It's good for business. It's good for America.
Brave is a part of America's largest service-disabled veteran-owned business, Amerit Consulting. We are dedicated to placing great companies with great veterans. Call today.
Easter Seals Work First Military and Veteran Services provides free one-on-one personalized employment assistance for local veterans through their Bob Hope Veteran Support Program. Easter Seals' team of employment specialists is dedicated to achieving successful long-term job placements that benefit both the veteran and the employer. Learn more about how you can receive services, connect with a future employee, or make a donation by visiting easterseals.com/SouthernCal. That's easterseals.com/SouthernCal.
Tired of your employees being late?
There was so much traffic.
Tired of poor excuses and poor presentations?
My kid ate my homework.
Tired of employees just not being able to handle the pressure?
You mean I gotta work a full 8 hours today?
Skip the hassles and excuses and hire individuals that are trained in leadership, confident in their abilities, adaptable to change, and focused on teamwork. Hire a veteran. More than just a patriotic gesture, hiring a veteran of the United States military comes with a host of benefits and tax credits and can provide your company with valuable leadership, organization, and accountability. Allow the Brave to help your progressive business connect with qualified veteran candidates today and find out more by visiting thebrave.us. That's THEBRAVE.us. Welcome back. You're listening to Brave Radio, where we're focused on matching veteran talent with innovative companies that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. As promised, we're back in studio with Rachelle Snook. Rachelle, this is your second time here.
Thanks for having me back.
And here's what I think our listeners are going to love to hear is you are a veteran spouse and WD-40, last year's hires at WD-40 were 60% veterans. What a wonderful accomplishment.
Yeah.
Cue the clap track. Woo!
Thanks.
So talk about that. First of all, Rachelle, why do you think that's important for your organization? WD-40 is a global company, and yet this is one of your focuses. Why?
There is a talent shortage in San Diego. I think a lot of companies in the area find that.
Yeah.
And the military, all our service members that are exiting, looking for new careers, they are a perfect source of great talent. They have so many transferable skills, leadership, they're on time, they're on point, they're great learners, they work well in teams. I know you've talked about many of these things, Eve, on your segments.
It's true.
And it is true. It is all of that. So they are definitely a great source for us.
And you can say that with all honesty because your husband's a military person.
He is, and he
He's in
just
the
dropped
Navy?
his retirement paperwork after 23 years.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Little fear there, a little uncertainty for him.
All excitement. We're ready to go. Yeah. New chapter.
Been a great ride. Thanks. Awesome. Well, Rachelle, you are obviously a figurehead in the San Diego community and actually all over the nation because you're a part of a large organization, the Chamber, and you're an expert in your field in human resources and recruiting. And so we're honored to have you here and to be speaking as an expert in this field about why hire veterans. So let's just jump into this. So if you're talking to a hiring manager, what advice would you give them when they're interviewing a veteran?
That's a great question. So I think I'm blessed because I've spent so much time with the military community. We've lived overseas for 4 years. We've spent time with the service members and their families. So I've had a very fortunate position that I got to understand what they do and their roles and some of their greatest aspirations and fears. But when I put on my recruiting hat in the corporate world, I'm able to help bridge that gap or translate some of those things. And whatever I can do to share that with hiring managers, small business owners, other recruiters, because I think we talk a lot about the service members trying to tool themselves and say the right thing. But as hiring managers, we also have a role in that and what we could do to get closer to them and help them through the process, because it's very, very daunting for them, just as it is for hiring managers who don't have experience hiring service members.
So do you think there's a fear in the recruiters that are interviewing or the hiring managers in interviewing a veteran?
I do. I think there's a lot of uncertainty there. They don't know how to ask questions. They don't know what the words on the resume are. They're fearful of some of the acronyms. And typically they take a quick glance on it and then go, oh, put it in the too hard basket. I'm not quite sure how to bridge that and how to relate to the service member.
And that is absolutely detrimental to the company. Why? Because if there's a talent shortage in San Diego, and I'd say that there's a talent shortage all over the nation, you've got tens of thousands of veterans who have come across your desk every day who could do the job that you're looking to fill, and you don't know it. So it's twofold, right? It's the veteran's fault for not translating the resume properly, but it's also the hiring manager's fault for not knowing what he or she is looking at. And that's where you can come in and provide some assistance and understanding. So when you're in an interview situation, first of all, let's start with a resume. You have this resume and you think Andy's a big deal. You think he might work, but there's stuff on his resume you don't understand. Like, how do you cope and deal with that?
Yes, I look at it and I say to myself, what is a sergeant? What is a chief? What is a lieutenant commander? I have no idea. So when I look at those things, I scan for words that I do know, like supply chain, like cook, like culinary specialist, like public relations person, whether they've got experience as technical aides or IT people. So I circle the words that I do know to see if I have something in the general wheelhouse. Then I also highlight the words I don't know, because that is a learning opportunity for me. I want to understand what those things are and how they translate to my company and the positions that we have to hire. I take those words, and when I first meet with a service member, one of the things I try to do more than any civilian interview is set them at ease. Really, the icebreakers are key. They are very, very nervous. They're not used to speaking about themselves.
Right.
They don't know what your job is. They don't know about your company. They don't know if they have transferable skills. So I set them at ease, and then I say, I'm going to ask you some questions because I'd love to learn from you.
Okay, so talk about, I want to go on, but I want to back up. So how do you set them at ease? They are sitting there straight as a pin, nervous as anything. Give us some practical advice of how you can set them at ease.
Well, I talk about my experience. I think that helps a little bit. For those hiring managers that don't have that experience, I tell them, this is new for me. I think it's new for you as well. I'm going to share with you what the position is at our company. I'm going to share with you a little bit about our corporate culture. I'm going to share with you what we do to help integrate service members with mentors within the company. And I also am very aware that you are part of a bigger team, whether you're in the infantry or you're part of a ship's company, that it's difficult for you to talk about your role and you're not sure about all of those things. So I'm going to ask you questions to make and bridge the gap. Are you okay with that? And I ask them, are you all right with that? I'm going to take notes and we're going to go through this and learn together.
I love that, because all of a sudden you can feel the air just go, right? Especially because you're asking that question. It's a very practical question. Are you okay with that? And you're getting their buy-in to enter into this relationship in this interview, and everything is kind of laying flat. So now we're in the interview. What happens?
Typically, they seem quite introverted, and I think it's our role as the hiring manager to pull that out of them. We talk about things like rate and rank. What was their job? Where were they in the hierarchy? I ask them to explain it to me if I'm not familiar with it. I ask them simple things like, icebreakers. Why did you join the military? Did you get to choose your job? Or was it chosen for you? Did you have any flexibility? Why did you choose that job? What did you like about it? So I want to get them to a place where they're comfortable talking about not themselves, but the job per se.
So
really helps them open up.
You say they're introverted by nature. Is that a perception or is that reality?
I think it's a perception. And in my experience, I believe that has a lot to do with that they're part of a team, that they're also focused on the mission, that there really is no individual I in team. And I think that is just the way they come out of their military experience. Right. So it is difficult for them to relate.
You're listening to Brave Radio, where we're focused on matching veteran talent with innovative companies like WD-40 that make a difference in our community and in our nation. Follow us on Twitter at Brave Jobs or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the latest news and trends. I'm here in studio with Rachelle Snook from WD-40, Global Talent Acquisition Manager extraordinaire. She's amazing. WD-40 lives under your sink. It takes the squeak out of your life and a whole lot more. But my favorite part about WD-40 is their passion to hire veterans. So let's push on. So how does one educate oneself during the interview? Like if you're a hiring manager, you're looking at these words you don't understand, how do you educate yourself about what it is that they have done?
I'll share an example, Eve. If I'm hiring somebody for our supply chain, I will describe first what the role is or what the essential function. For example, we need to purchase materials, and it could be consumables, it could be a commodity, it could be any one of those things. I ask the service member, well, I understand you've been in supply chain. So are any of these things the way I described it, something that you've had experience with? And if so, tell me how you go about that. How do you purchase? How does that come through? Do you need purchase orders? Does somebody have to approve it? Are you running your budget? And then once you get those materials, how do you get them from point A to point B? What does that logistics component look like? And what was your role in that?
And those are questions that I hope our listeners practice. Right? So we should be writing those down. We should be practicing those because those are good, legitimate questions that both you and our prior guest, who will be coming back on the show in a little bit, Andy Wingstrom, they're going to ask you. And those are legitimate questions. So practice your answers. Grab your aunts, uncles, cousins, another HR professional out there that you're friends with. Maybe San Diego HR Forum, which we've talked about in the past, has mentors for you. Get on the phone, get in person, go to a coffee, and list out all these questions and start practicing those answers. Now, Rachelle, when you're interviewing somebody, what is the right answer in those situations? What are you looking for when you're interviewing them?
I don't know that there's a right answer. No, trying to understand if they've got some experience that circles around what we're looking for. And if it's not close, then I'll put them in a hypothetical situation. I'll say, so if you've purchased but you haven't done the expediting of those purchased materials, what do you think that might look like? I want to understand, can they think on their feet? Are they listening to me? Can they ask me questions that help them get to a place that we want to get them?
So a good interviewing technique, if you're a person interviewing, is to ask questions. So I've heard it said that people don't judge you on your intelligence on the statements that you make, but they judge you on the questions that you ask. So you're saying ask good questions in the interview.
Ask great questions and then apply them to your thinking in your response. So in an interview, in my opinion, it's not necessarily about the correct answer, but it's about the journey that we go through together to understand, can you think about this the right way? Can you fit within the team? Can you be agile, flexible, and all of those things? And
those are the core strengths of the tribe, because that's what you have at WD-40. You have that tribe, and those are your key strengths.
And it is a great strength of our service members because they, in many, many cases, don't have the right answer in front of them. They figure it out together as a team, and they come up with a resolution to complete the mission really quickly.
That's awesome. I know we did talk about this at break, but what are the types of positions WD-40 typically looks for?
We hire our service members into supply chain, sales. We find a lot of our service members with great leadership experience. They're very driven and very passionate. We really love representing our brands. We've got warehouse positions. We've got supply chain and quality. On the quality side, we hired helicopter pilot recently.
What?
Into our quality team.
I want that job. Well, I can't fly in a helicopter, but I think that sounds I'd fail that interview.
When you think about it, those aviators have very, very good process. They're very rigorous about their quality assurance, about their methodology. So that's just another example of trying to bridge that gap and apply those skills.
Wow, that's awesome. So what else would you add? What other pieces of advice would you give those hiring managers out there that are looking to hire great talent? And we know that great talent lies in veterans.
Pick up the phone and have a conversation with a service member. It will be a learning experience for both of you. Wherever you can, and you do hire veterans, create internal mentorship programs, pair them with somebody else, because quite often they're coming from a group of very strongly aligned team members and they're looking to assimilate to that sense of belonging within a company. I also suggest just leading with kindness and compassion. You don't know what you don't know, and that's okay, but go on the journey together.
I love it. We've got a few minutes left, and I think I'm going to drag Andy Wingstrom back into the conversation because both of you sit in the same seat on the other side of the table, talking to veterans, interviewing them, trying to understand what they did. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think oftentimes we really want them to succeed. If we find somebody that we love, even if they're not the right match for that particular job, do your wheels spin and you try to figure out where you can place them? Andy, you want to talk to that?
Absolutely. I think that more and more specific positions obviously require some sort of training or hands-on experience or education. For instance, I'm in life sciences biosimilars right now, and I'm hiring some scientists. So there's not a lot of scientists that might come out of the military that would parlay right into those roles. But my whole point is when she's talking about supply chain, you're really looking at somebody that has companies now more and more are hiring for skills and abilities and culture fit. And they know that they can train in these areas as long as they've got a baseline of experience that translates well. I do want to jump back to one quick thing. I think it's really important when you talk about nerves, what I've done with candidates, because it doesn't matter if you're coming out of the military or you're a civilian all along. Most people, I would say 90% of candidates get nervous in an interview.
You're sweating it.
Right. And some are shaking and talking so fast. And I think what I tell candidates when I really see them struggling with their nerves is, hey, listen, this is just a conversation to learn about you and about us. And I said, as long as you're giving honest, truthful answers, it's easy to answer questions. I think what we have to do for veterans, especially if they're just coming out, is explain to them the types of questions that they'll be asked. What is a behavioral-based question? What is a situational-based question? And explain to them to be prepared for these questions, not what do you like to do? What do you want to do in 5 years? Those questions are really sort of going away. The questions today are a lot different than they were 10, 20 years years ago. And I think what we need to do really is prepare those candidates, like you said, prepare for certain questions, but you have to understand what questions we'll be asking. So I think that's almost a whole segment on its own.
It is.
To help veterans design their resumes, have a profile about themselves, talk about themselves, and then use their cover letter to say, you're looking for ABC. I have ABC because I've done this, this, and this.
Rachelle, what is a behavior-based interview question? Andy threw that word out. And since we're all about defining terms here,
Love it.
What is a behavior-based interview question?
A behavior-based interview question is where you talk about observable behaviors and how they apply their knowledge to a particular situation.
So give me an example.
So an example would be we have to go and audit one of our suppliers on the quality side, one of our external partners. How do you apply your experience in the military to approach that supplier, to ask questions, to prepare for the audit? What things would you be looking for? Put them in a situation where they can demonstrate their behaviors and how the two connect.
And boy, do you have to be prepared for that question.
Right.
Right? Those are heavy questions.
Right. It's basically saying, what have you done in the past? So it translates to what we're doing today.
Exactly.
Right. What behaviors exactly?
And the benefit to those behavior questions for hiring managers and recruiters is that you just really can't BS it.
Yes.
But you also, when they do go astray with their question, try to bring them back on track and say, okay, well, what about happens in this situation? What would be your thought process in that case?
All right, Andy, Rachelle, thank you for being a part of our show. Any final comments, thoughts to give to our audience before we close up the show?
Talk to a veteran today. You're missing a great opportunity if you haven't already done so. And especially our wounded warriors. They have so much to give, and in very few situations are their injuries or their disability limiting. But where they are, explore that too.
I love it. So how do we get a hold of you, Rachelle, if we want to work at WD-40 that takes the squeak out of our life? It's probably not your tagline, but
I like it. I like it.
No extra charge then. If Barry Bridge likes it, he can have it.
We have careers at WD40company.com. Navigate to the top of the page. You can find careers there, or you can reach me via email at hrresumes@wd40.com.
Rachelle, you're amazing. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence. You travel all over the world. So to actually capture you and have you in studio is a miracle. So thank you for being here. Andy, thanks for hanging with us for the rest of the show.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. Well, I'm Eve Nasby, and you've been listening to Brave Radio here on KCBQ AM 1170 The Answer. If you want to find out more about how you can hire top veteran talent, or if you're interested in being a guest on our show, visit our website at www.thebrave.us. That's www.thebrave.us. Send us a tweet at Brave Jobs or like our Facebook page. From all of our guests and me, thanks for joining us. And until next Monday, may God bless our veterans and God bless America.
Thanks for listening to Brave Radio. If you know a veteran looking for work, or if your company is hiring, call Eve at Brave at 619-244-3000. Give her a tweet at Brave Jobs and connect with them on Facebook. To be a guest on the show, visit thebrave.us.